Let's get it, Upward Spiral Gang. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. Let's get started today. Today, I'm going to be speaking about answering some questions for y'all. The most frequently asked questions when it comes down to like this path working or spirituality in general. Okay. And I'm just going to go through and give you my perspective. Okay. Everything I say, take it with a grain of salt, read the disclaimer, and let's get ready to rumble. Okay. Let's get ready to rumble, as they would say in the old wrestling days. Okay. All right. First of all, I'm sharing this link with the tribe. By the way, guys, if you don't have a tribe, go ahead and join our Sangha. Okay. Really, really powerful. Oh, it's 420 right now, and it was 420 yesterday. All right, let's get it. Sweet. This is not a TED Talk. Okay. FYI, this is not a TED Talk. Okay. I don't even know who Ted is. Okay. However, we're diving right into the fractal soup today. Because have you ever felt like life's been ghostwriting your story in loops? Like no matter how many times that you grind, you meditate, you manifest, you detox, or fake grin your way through it, you're still starring in the same damn rerun. So let me give it to you straight. Something's sacred is being hijacked. It's not your wallet. It's not your time. It is your focus. Your focus is like your golden compass, right? Your divine sculptor. It's constantly being pulled, pimped, and pixelated by this glitching matrix of fear, noise, and dopamine crumbs. But what if I told you the most gangsta metaphysical truth is simple? Where you place your attention is where your sword of creation swings. So let's break down some quantum wizardry and ancient tantra. I'm your favorite outlaw uncle. At the subatomic level, reality is shy. Okay. Doesn't show its hand until you stare it down. And this is not a metaphor, it's a superimposition. A particle is every possibility until you observe it. You are the one collapsing the infinite, not by effort, but by focus, which means your attention is the lever that bends timelines. So in one version of you, of the multiverse, right, you're broke, you're bitter, you're scrolling through regret. In another version of the multiverse, you're dripping in alignment. You're living your myth. You're kissing destiny in the mouth. Okay. Which one are you feeding with your sacred gaze, with your perception? Here's the secret they won't teach you in any schools or yoga studios. There are two types of attention that shape your fate: non-polar attention and polar attention. Polar attention is drama queen energy. Okay, so it's emotional, it's very magnetized, it uses fear, lust, desperation, hope, and it pulls reality towards you like a lover, or it repels it like a lie. But used right, polar attention can actually be like a spell. Used wrong, you can actually make it a curse that you cast upon yourself. Okay. Now, non-polar attention is like the mystic, the monk, the silent witness, right? You observe without craving or resisting. This is the secret of the Tao, of the Sen or Chan, of Wu Wei, okay? And these concepts. So it doesn't push, it doesn't pull, it just lets reality bloom while sipping tea and raising kingdoms in the unseen. Okay? Hey there, babe. Samba's here. Let's go. All right. Streaming a little late today. Let's see. So, are you throwing tantrums in the quantum nursery, or are you sitting calmly on your throne, tuning timelines using your own breath? The holy flex of the true magi is acceptance. Stop fighting with what is. Stop beefing with the now. Every time that you resist reality, you glue yourself more to suffering. So flow is what happens when you stop pushing the river and you start letting the current ground you. Resistance that you feel, that's your ego clinging to the illusion that control is safer than freedom. But real power is surrender. It's trust, it's precision, it's presence. It's watching the world swirl in chaos and still knowing that the lucid dreamer is in the apocalypse. So what is this 3-step protocol for reality bending? Number 1 is to prime your attention. So every morning you lock in, you set an intention so bold that the gods raise their eyebrow, right? Where your gaze lands and the world gets rearranged. So prime your attention. Number 2, drop the polarity. Meditate like a beast. Watch your mind like you're babysitting Shiva and Kali's child, right? No judgment, just witnessing. That's your inner dojo. Number 3 is you stop resisting, you let it in, you make love to the now. Because the second you drop the war with reality, you step into command of it. The world doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are while you're watching. So watch wisely. This is not theory. This is alchemy. It's quantum tantra. It's Primal Sutra, right? We've got the divine joystick, and we're bending realities like the ones that owe it rent. Okay. All right. Let's address some of these questions. Can being too comfortable weaken your spirituality? Okay. Can being too comfortable weaken your spirituality? Short answer is yes, but here's the sauce. Comfort isn't really an enemy. Attachment to comfort is. Okay? This is the nuance here that I think a lot of people miss. So the pain cracked you open. Now you think pain is the only thing that can crack you open. That's the trap. That's the trap. That's the romanticized trauma loop version. But true evolution, eventually, it whispers instead of screams. So you got to lean into the same download from a butterfly on your shoulder that you used to only get from a, spiritual car crash. So what's the war between institutions, public institutions, and awakening ones? Yeah, man. So institutions kind of boil us into their data pools, right? Like public schools are mostly indoctrination dojos. Media is like a spell book for the masses, right? Yes, but guess what? Every dark system also contains its medicine. Use the matrix to find your myth. Decode the programming. Don't demonize the whole code base, right? Is the log one useful? Useful, yes. Final destination, no. It's like an old spaceship, right? You honor it, but eventually, you got to build your own. Okay. Is paranoia normal for Kundalini? Someone has asked. So, paranoia is just pattern recognition turned up way too loud. It's just on its extreme level. You're tuning into truth, but the dial is glitchy. So you got to transmute that static that you're getting of the paranoia into actual strategy. So use anger righteously. It's a sacred gasoline. Use it to build, not to burn, right? That's the easiest way to answer that. And also, the opposite of paranoia is pronoia, right? The universe has my back. That kind of thinking is going to make you go a lot further than if you're kind of sidetracking yourself and like second guessing yourself all the time, right? Oh, yeah, the sun is back. Let's go. Okay. What is sacred secretion, divine union, order 4 codes? Look, it all boils down to this. Masculine, feminine energy is making love in your spine. Okay. It's not romance. Okay. It's resonance. So every esoteric text is just coded erotica for soul integration. Okay. What about tarot, numerology, divination? Look, neutral is a mirror. They're just tools. You want to see demons in them? You will. You want to see divine GPS? You will. Right? The operator defines the outcome. The operator defines the outcome. Check your vibe before you cast the cards, because honestly, there's been many times where people have gotten way too overboard with this. Okay. And if you are using the tools incorrectly, you're going to get not what you set out to get. It's going to go anti-intention. Okay. It's going to be opposite to what you actually prefer and want. So it's not the way to go about it. Don't get so attached to the tools that you're using either. It's like, this is why I love muscle testing, because it's my fingers, it's like I can do it anywhere. I need to carry some special equipment with me, right? Everywhere I go. It's like I can use my own physical body to move as a spiritual being through this world, right? So what about past lives, over souls, eighth spheres, all this kind of stuff? So it's not about how many soul cycles that you've logged in, right? It's about how deeply you integrate the now. So you could have been Cleopatra in 7 timelines, but if you're not spiritually integrated and you're spiritually constipated in this one, then it doesn't matter, right? So this is why we have to unclog ourselves, unstuck ourselves. Any kind of stuck energy that's working its way through the system, we got to work through that, okay? That's why it's important to do the energy work. Grief, what is grief? Grief is sacred alchemy. It's let grief take the wheel sometimes and toss you in the washing machine and let it shake your soul loose until only the eternal sticks. Stop resisting the spin cycle is what I'm saying, okay? A lot of people, what they do in grief is they hold on, they hold on, they hold on. It's like creating more resentment, which is creating more charge or negative fuel, okay? So you just gotta go with what the grief is telling you. If it wants to cry and you're feeling it welling up, you gotta let it out, bro, right? That's all I'm saying with that. Because grief is a very, very sacred thing, but grief could also be trapped in your sacral chakra quite a lot. So also it blocks your creativity, right? Blocks your life force, emotional life force energy, the loosh that all these establishments, beings want from us, right? We got to protect that energy. So have you ever gotten food repulsion during awakening? Yes. Food aversions, of course. You see, your cells are in constant dialogue with your soul too. So sometimes you don't crave food because you're craving something else, craving truth, you're craving light, or just craving silence. So don't panic then. I see a lot of people who struggle with appetite and they start to panic more like, I should feel hungry. It's not, get rid of the shouldness and instead sit with the beingness of the hunger that will slowly emerge. So what do you like to eat? And then start out small with what you do like to, and then you can start to stack it, right? Like, let's just say I have a craving for sweets. I don't have to go for the, Haagen-Dazs chocolate right away. I can actually have just like a little, teaspoon of agave or something like that and completely cut that craving, right? So it's really a game of discernment, right? So who are true guides? This is one question, right? True guides, are they demons or allies, right? True guides respect your sovereignty. This is what you want to understand. If they bypass your will or they spike your fear, they're not your guides, okay? These are energetic pickpockets that you're working, okay? Okay. What is Yahweh? Okay, Yahweh, source and drag. Okay, the demiurge doing cosplay. Sometimes angels, sometimes algorithm. Interpret it accordingly. Okay. UFOs, Antichrist, ascension cycle. Listen, all of these are litmus tests. just mirror shows. The more sovereign you become, the less you'll need disclosure, because the revelation will be you. Okay. So here's my takeaway for all the sacred disruptors. Okay. Don't fall for the spiritual clickbait. Don't confuse eloquence with truth. Don't let fear wear the face of wisdom. You are the temple. You are the key. You are the code breaker in this realm. Okay. So I'm just your uncle in the ether, right? Keeping it primal, keeping it paradoxical. Welcome to the portal, right? Get your popcorn, your crystals, and your galactic discernment ready, because we're diving right in as the thunder cracks, right? We're back in the vortex again, right? Divine cosmic gnosis with a switchblade. Okay. The Swiss Army knives is spiritual underground tech. Now, before I start answering more transmissions, we have an event in Sedona, Arizona this year. Okay. Go and check it out and reach out to us. Listen, there's going to be a lot of Atlantean codes, a lot of Shiva codes, a planetary logos codes in Sedona. That's why we're going, because it's been aligned. Okay. So now is the eternal question. Who are the powers that were the puppet masters or timeline tamperers? The Nordic, then the reptilian, insectoid board of directors that think it's like, they own this density like it's Fortune 500. They are the hijackers of your spiritual awakening. The ones who took the cosmic library and put it behind the paywall. So you actually feed off of their fear, their confusion, and your unintegrated shame loops, right? Get addicted to the illusion of control. So this is almost like you understanding the bureaucratic pyramids. So don't worship them, outgrow them. Outgrow them. Okay. We fell from unified spirit to fractured ego, from divine play to karmic reality show, right? And now they're not more powerful. They're just quicker on the draw for now. Okay. Look, aren't these insectoids, nords, and reptiles, aren't they all interdimensional book club of control freaks? Right? They aren't the final bosses. They just found out how early to harvest Loosh that they needed, right? A sweet nectar of emotional life force. And fear is like a Red Bull to them. Red Bull gives you wings. Yeah. To them, it gives them, seraphim wings. Your divine stillness, it's a blackout to their Wi-Fi, right? So what's the antidote? Being creative, embodied, alchemical, wild. A version of you that doesn't ask for permission, that transmutes shame into sacred art, that builds timelines outside the loops, right? The far walkers, the ones who don't escape the system, they outcreate it. Of course, the energy of Shakti, Sophia is the architect of Gnosis, the fallen wisdom, the fractal mother, the huntress in the forest of lies. But she isn't here to tell you. She's here to birth herself through you, through beauty, through the struggle, through poetry. Whether it's Artemis or Emis or Magdalene, it's all Sophia awakening in you. So Gnosis is not for the obedient. Redemption is not a doctrine. Loosh is not evil, because even music is loosh. Art is loosh. Anger is loosh. The question is, who's cooking? And for what purpose are they cooking? So you are the they that they're afraid of. The one who can't be programmed. The one who unhooks from false gods with a smile. The one who walks through the battlefield like it's a damn art gallery, right? We're the glitch that becomes the divine. So keep your discernment very sharp. Keep your love unapologetic. Keep your gnosis alive. Okay. Microplastics. Okay. Okay. Microplastics aren't just toxins. They're sort of like timeline hijackers. Okay. The serpent's egg. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm sorry. That's too occult for me. Your jaw is like an antenna. I'm not going to answer that one. Birth control isn't hormonal. Mm, yeah, it's interesting how women on the pill pick softer jawed partners, but once they're off, they wonder why they're not attracted to them anymore. So it means that they're what it's not just messing with mating, it's distorting mate codes written in the zinc, the scent, the starlight, right? So epigenetics has to meet erotic karma eventually. Okay. Simulation theory. Oh man, we're going there. Okay. So we're in a simulation crowd. This is the how to explain this. It's a war between false freedom and true creativity. Okay. I think, well, let's start talking about more of these questions and then we'll get to simulation theory because I think there's more to unpack really in terms of that. Okay. The next question is we've normalized pathology and called it personality. Okay. Fatherhood is a missing frequency. Yes. So the sacred masculine's job is to ground and stabilize and play. If the mother is life, then the father becomes structure. And if we don't restore the fatherhood energy, then we're going to keep pretending that the simulation is salvation, right? It's not salvation, love is salvation, right? So you don't need to choose between conspiracy and compassion, between simulation and source, between fascia and faith. The new age isn't about transcending reality, it's about reweaving reality. It's about going from the fascia to the fourth density, from the tongue-tied to the timelines, from the womb of Sophia to the whispers, right? So you are the myth that makes the matrix glitch, essentially, okay? All right. I think I have some other questions saved here. Hopefully I can find it. Anybody have any questions, by the way, just write it in the chat, okay? Okay, what is my purpose? Your purpose is not your job title, okay? It's how you transmit your essence while doing the dishes. So embody your weirdness, make your vibe so clean that it scrubs the timelines around you. That's how you find your purpose, okay? Because purpose starts from curiosity, which then becomes passion, and then it becomes purpose. So you got to start with being a curious child again. You have to start being in discovery mode again, okay? How to raise vibration. Okay, these are very basic questions, FAQs, so I'll answer them through the lens of Uncle Makara. Listen, stop entertaining drama and microwave karma, okay? Hydrate, breathe like your ancestors are watching, dance like your radio tower for divine frequencies, and forgive faster than you scroll, for God's sake, okay? It's not about raising your vibration because what goes up must come down. It's about maintaining your vibration, okay? So don't just fixate on, I have to raise my frequency. No, I want the most solid, practical, epic frequency that I can maintain through my life. I want to max out my baseline, my true Zen, my inner north code, right? Why am I going through spiritual awakening? Because your soul got tired of being the side character in the sitcom reality. Okay. Spiritual awakening, main character mode, activate. Okay. The loneliness calibration, the anxiety growing pains. You're breaking through. You're going through a spiritual awakening because you're breaking through something. Because the old structure of what you created is not sustainable for your soul. Okay. So it wants to be cracked open, in a sense. How do I manifest faster? Huh. What are you willing to become? Embody the wish fulfilled. And act like God's already texted you the confirmation code, right? Stop praying for this and that like a beggar and start imagining like a creator. That's how you manifest faster and raise your vibration. I mean, that's one way. But again, you got to stabilize it, right? Got to stabilize it. So, how do I know if it's my ego or my intuition? This is a really common one. Intuition whispers, doesn't shout. Ego tries to plan things out. The intuition knows. Ego says, yeah, prove it. With what? Intuition says, move it, right? Learn to sit in the silence long enough from the signal clears from static to pure source download. Why do I keep attracting the same toxic patterns? Because you keep wearing the same karmic cologne, right? Unhealed wounds, number 5, right? If you change the scent, different beings will show up and guide your journey. So heal the story first. Heal your own story first. Burn the contract, rewrite the vibe, listen to Quantum K, listen to all of our technologies, right? And get rid of them. They don't serve you, so why should you serve them? Simple, right? How do I protect my energy? Listen, boundaries are your spiritual hygiene, okay? You got to clean your fuel like you regularly brush your teeth. So don't drink poison just because it's offered with a smile, okay? The bartender's pouring poison into your cup and you keep drinking it down, right? I realize how silly that is, actually. You know, I finally got it. Like, and I understand that not everything that glows is guidance, right? Not everything that glows is guidance. That's one thing to understand that I've really had to embody to protect my energy even further. Because we get caught up in the flash and the shiny lights and all of that looks so cool that we forget about the actual divine swagger, right? So when will I finally ascend? Ascension isn't an escape room. You don't level up by ditching Earth. You evolve by learning how to stay grounded in hell while sipping holy water like champagne. Okay. Ascension means you're owning density and heaviness with divine levels of swagger. Okay. Okay. Let me just check the chat. Okay. Nothing up. Okay. Let's continue with the questions then. All right. Why do I feel more spiritual when I'm alone? Most people's spiritual, I mean, their energies are blocked. So that's what you're picking up, I'm afraid. Like when you're in a crowded location, you notice that it's so fake, bro, right? That's what you're picking up. So your solitude is actually a sacred dojo time. It's not that you're antisocial, you're just allergic to fakeness and artificiality. So when you're alone, you don't have to shrink to fit anybody else's karmic costume party, right? You have to put on this social mask all the time. That's when spirit kicks off the real conversations, because I can have deep, meaningful conversations with Ellie and feel so connected to her, right? But then I'm like, if I'm like wondering why do I feel so alone? Then that is actually putting a separation around that connection. So be careful how you speak, because God is just saying yes. He's saying yes. That's exactly what will happen. So if you're saying, yeah, this bad thing is going to go down, God's like, yes. Okay. Okay, I guess so. Is that what you want? Cool, cool, cool. I'll put it in the, order. What else do you want from the menu, right? So is it wrong to desire on the spiritual path? It's where you're desiring from. Okay. Because sacred wealth is just chi in motion, right? Denying your desires is not holiness. Again, I call it spiritual constipation, right? Because it's like you have to learn to channel it, not to chase it. Tantra over trauma. Embodiment over escapism. Why do I keep slipping back into old habits? It's your inner critic is really sneaky. And your inner critic, it cosplays as your comfort zone. So you got to deprogram. You're still hypnotized. Shake off the trance, right? And when you fall consciously, not like like a phoenix belly flopping into fire for fun. Okay. How do I know if a spirit guide is real and not a trickster? Okay, easy. A true guide will expand your clarity, not bring you more confusion. They'll call you out, not just hype you up. Tricksters will love to feed your ego. Oh, you're so perfect. You're the one. You're going to get all of it. You're the chosen one. You're the realist. We haven't met anybody like you. That's a trickster being. Watch out. Right? Why are they blowing so much smoke up your ass? Be careful. Real ones burn the illusions until what's left is a divine pulse. And also, if they guilt trip you or demand blind service, run. Okay? That's just a scammer with some glitter on, okay? It's like one of those crypto scam people, right? Man, can I be spiritual if I get horny? Yes. You're not here to be a monk in a coma. You're here to alchemize the full human experience, including sacred lust, holy rage, righteous jealousy. Everything is fuel if you stop judging the flame and learning to dance with it. Stop judging the louche. It's just life force. It's not anger. It's not guilt. It's not shit. We're bringing these human labels to it when it's really just energy, right? So work with the energy until you transmute it. All right, guys. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, let me just get through this list. We'll be done soon. Okay. What if I'm imagining all this spirituality stuff? Oh, you are. You are, and it's still real. That's the funny thing. Because imagination is the root directory of reality. It's where spirit logs in and edits the script. So everything starts in the unseen. So go ahead, okay? Imagine harder, dream weirder, because you're actually dimensionally gifted. People in the real world will call you delusional. They'll call you weird. Why are you doing that? Why are you imagining all that stuff? Right? Get out of your fantasies, kid. That's what they'll tell you. But really, imagination is like the dashboard, your mind, body, spirit complex, as I've said before, right? So that means it's the control tower. It's the headquarters. You get that? That's where all the change happens. The inner change reflects the outer change. So be careful when you're daydreaming without intention, right? When it's just floaty and there's random stuff, you're dimensionally hopping, okay? And this is the time where your sovereignty gets really tested, right? Because you'll have a random astral being just go, hey, right? Want some toxic advice? Okay. So, do I need to cut off my toxic family members to be free? Listen, man, sometimes you just got to stop expecting fruit from a dead tree. If they drain you, then of course, distance. But if they mirror your wounds, then you got to alchemize. And if they gaslight your growth, ghost with grace. Loyalty and reciprocity is not virtue, it's voluntary imprisonment. Okay. Loyalty with reciprocity is a virtue. It's a back and forth, it's a give and receive, right? So if one person is being loyal from one side and the other person isn't agreeing to, like, there's no reciprocity there, then how is there going to be, a flux or a flow of that honor of that energy, right? Can I skip shadow work? Someone is asking. Bro, this isn't like a detour, right? uh, right? Your light is only as bright as the darkness you've made a temple. So stop bypassing. Okay? Start befriending your inner chaos. What if my shadow is my homie? Stop like making it this weird thing. Like I want to skip growth. I want to skip actual deep, pure intimacy. What you're saying, right? Can I skip shadow work? I want to skip actual peace and go to the artificial peace instead. Okay, that's what you're saying with that question, bro. Okay. Hey, flames. Thank you, Sama. Let's go, Vajra Gang, upward spiral. All right, let's do a part three. All right, let's do a part three, and then we'll dip out. If you have any questions, just type them in the chat. Okay, guys? Cool. What if I don't want to heal anymore? What if I don't want to heal anymore? You're not a project. You're a prophecy. Okay? Healing isn't like some kind of homework assignment that you have to complete. It's a lifestyle of freedom, not obsession. I mean, sometimes the most healing thing to do is to declare yourself whole, and then go make art. Kiss life on the lips and laugh so hard that your trauma takes the back seat. Okay, so your choice. If you don't want to heal anymore, then stop. Okay, attempting healing. Okay, that's up to you. Completely up to you. Okay, because there is a lot of it's a healing trap, right? You got to heal more, then you got to heal more. Okay, no, let's get to the root cause and rip it out. Right? That's how we work here. Why do I feel like I'm faking my spirituality? Because you are. Because you are. The moment that you admit your doubt, that's the threshold of truth, right? Congratulations, you're officially crossing the veil. Okay, just don't build a brand on the mask. Burn the mask and show us the scars that are glowing like stars. Some scars into some stars, right? Is my twin flame a karmic con artist? Okay. I mean, sometimes your divine union can have like a past life unpaid invoice and lipstick, but real twin flame is something that evolves you, not just excites you, right? It's not like the chemical high of like dopamine or like oxytocin. Okay. And if you're Googling like soul contracts in relationship to Xanax, that's a lesson, not a legacy. Okay, my friend. So I don't know if they're a con artist. Okay. Might be karma artist. Okay. Why do I hate 99% of spiritual people? Woo! It's the fakeness that you hate. It's not the crystals. It's not the enlightenment cosplay. It's none of that, right? Find the real ones who chant and cuss, that meditate and mosh. Those are your tribe, okay? Because when your BS detector is very calibrated to divine discernment FM, you're not jaded anymore. You're not cynical anymore, right? You're just allergic to the noise. You want the melody, okay? Can psychedelics replace the discipline? No, 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 no. They won't do the dishes for you. They'll show you the kingdom, okay? Plant medicine can open the door, but it cannot build a temple for you. Without discipline? Are you kidding me? Right? Look at these people going on ayahuasca retreats and getting their lives even more fucked up. Right? No, we need to do it with strategy. Vision without integration is just spiritual tourism. Get high if you must. But come back with a map, a message, and a mop. Okay? How do I know if I'm enlightened? You don't know. And if you think you are, you're probably not. Okay? True enlightenment is a humble, hilarious, and secretly bored of the whole label game, right? It's not about feeling special. They wouldn't even come out and say it. It's about being nothing and everything at the same time. I mean, and still choosing to water the plants and hold the door, for someone crying and letting go, helping the old lady cross the street. Oh, you're doing all the regular stuff, but just through a fresh pair of eyes. So you're not going to know really, okay? Because it's a shift in your consciousness. You're just going to have more peace. You'll feel more centered. Okay? What if I'm too powerful that I scare people away? Yeah, power should scare the ones playing small for too long, right? It's meant to. That's what power does. But if you refine your fire, it doesn't burn you or them. Don't dim it down. You train it up, where you channel it into the current creation, not the destruction. So you become the storm and the shelter. Okay. All right, guys. Ending it right now. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Appreciate all of you. Much love. Take care. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same. Yeah. Peace. Much love, guys. Happy Monday. Let's go. Happy Moon Day. Yeah. Let's win.